Brad, let's do a quick sound check for you, making sure that everyone can hear your voice as well as they can hear mine.
Happy Wednesday to you.
Happy Wednesday to you, big buddy. We've got a heck of a show today. It's going to be pretty exciting. Let's talk a little bit before we get started. Oh, excuse me. I'm not. That's just allergies. I swear I'm not sick. Okay, so for everyone who attends our webinars, you should know that the information that we present in this webinar is for educational and informational purposes only. Trade Ideas is not a registered investment advisor, so we just want to make sure that you understand that this information in the webinar is not to be construed as registered investment advice. So for those of you that are here, what you should be aware of is that Trade Ideas is the premier service in the country for helping investors really take hold of their own finances and through the use of scientific statistic analysis to be able to crunch data and figure out, well, how do I take advantage of all of this? So what we have is again, at the core of what we do is our artificial intelligence, Holly, and we've had so many questions about, well, how do I use it? What are some of the expectations? Well, what's its performance? Is it doing any good? That Brad and I thought that we would spend a little time today, kind of starting from today's Wednesday. We're going to go through Monday, Tuesday, and today. Talk a little bit about expectations, timing, and how are you able to get the most bang for your buck? And for you, that means alpha. So we're going to talk about also how we outperform the S&P and how you were able to, again, hopefully use this data, trust it a little bit more, and really be able to take some serious gains. So let's start at the very top, Brad. Monday was the first day of the week, and again, we have a lot of people that start every week new, and so we can't really rest on our laurels. We can't say that, like, oh, well, in the beginning of the year we killed it, but no, we kind of have to grade ourselves almost every single day.
Well, we do, and we had our webinar last Wednesday, right? We do this every Wednesday. So to be fair, you don't have the end of last week on there, but last week we had 2 winning days as well, where it was up 3 points on both Thursday and Friday. So coming into the week, we finished the previous week pretty strong.
Yeah, we came in really strong. So Monday started out, and again, you can see that on our windows, you can see exactly what date it is and what time the picture's being snapped. And one of the things I was talking about is the UNT, the Drilling Oil and Gas Wells Unit Company, because again, it was one of these trades where our system got everybody in. There was a $1.13 winner, and it was a really nice day for the AI overall. But people always ask us, well, how do you know to pick that one and maybe not some of the other ones? And Brad, I gotta say, it's a tricky question, but I want to talk a little bit about today, like how I approach that and how we put the tools that are surrounding all of this to help everybody make those same decisions. So again, part of what we're talking about is, does the AI work? And the AI works 100%. And I think, again, there's so many people here in the webinar that already are subscribers and customers, and they know it. The key that I'm really trying to help everybody is that everyone should probably spend a little bit more time looking at some of the trades that the AI comes up with, because it has huge and longer term potential. So first of all, Brad, the thing that I wanted to notice is that Brad and I spend a lot of our time designing this AI window so that really you have to do almost nothing to start extracting value right away. And so let me just go over a little bit of the idea of how you see it. So if a trade comes in through the AI, it actually, and I want to make sure, Brad, everyone sees my mouse moving on this lower part of the strategy.
Yeah, it looks good. We can see it.
Okay. So I want to make sure that everyone knows. So this is kind of the strategy staging window. It tells you well, what's going to be on the menu? In essence, and of course, it also keeps track of how the menu is doing, quote unquote. But it tells you what's going on. Just because something's going to be set up today doesn't mean that it's going to trade. So it just means that it's hunting. It's like you've got these types of spider webs out looking for stocks that fit this statistical criteria, because this is what all of our data crunching showed us, is that this is where we should be. So one of the first things we do here is we also notice, Brad, that there's a lot of longs and one short. That just means that statistically that's where the numbers lay. That doesn't mean you can't make money on the short side. And in fact, here in the open positions, you can see that the AI was actually doing that exact thing, making money on the short side too. So when positions appear, they appear in the lower window right here in the open positions. But the idea is that as soon as you click on a symbol, and in here you can just pretend that we all clicked on UNT, you can quickly see the shorter 5-minute chart and the daily. And one of the things that everybody should notice right away is that we go a long way towards making sure people know that Trade Ideas is not about day trading. Trade Ideas is about alpha capture. Okay, how one captures alpha really is determined upon their level of risk. Like, for example, somebody with a very small account may not be able to hold a position overnight because of buying power, whereas somebody with $1 million, they can continue to step into a position until they have their requisite amount. There's lots of different ways to do it, but terms like day trading and swing trading kind of put a funny thing in your mind. It means that you're telling yourself you're going to be getting out for a reason that doesn't exist. So we don't like to use that. Again, in our point of view, we're trying to be in trades that have both long-term potential as well as the immediate short-term potential. They are not in any way disassociated. We look for both. And hopefully you can see here in this UNT that that's exactly what we were trying to do. We want to potentially be in a trade at around, here the entry price was, I believe, 11.42, and maybe end up being in it at 17. Okay, so the first trade sometimes is your awareness trade. Well, how did you do it? Were you able to make money in it? And that's how you know to be in it. So that's one of the most important things I want to make sure is that people know that you can quickly make this analysis. Like, you can quickly look graphically and say, does this make sense to you and fit your risk profile? And then right away you have supporting information. So aside from the fact that you've got the two charts, which is standard here in this AI window, you've got the S&P 15-minute chart. And what this lets you know is the wind blowing in your face or is it in your back? If you're looking to get long and you're seeing a pattern like this, you know that you're getting long also in the general direction of where the market's going, and
Dan, that's exactly what the strategies were doing in the early part of that day. And only if you can see the last hour or so in the market where it started to bleed off, that's where it decided to put on those short positions. So it's all the strategies are very market aware. They know what's going on with the S&P and.
Well, that's the thing. Remember, I'm going to be talking about the whole trust thing, is that we have built into the strategies a lot of different things so that you don't have to think. The strategies are designed to look, of course, at the best statistics, but they're also not necessarily going to be sitting there buying stocks if the whole market is getting annihilated. It looks at the big picture as well as the little picture, but the idea here is that you do have these visual cues. You also have another one. So there's these, here's the S&P, and here's even a more detailed pulse. It's like, imagine you're a surgeon. You have to know what a vein and an artery is, and these are two. One is an artery, one is a vein. That's, Brad, I don't know if that's a good metaphor, but I feel like it makes sense to me, especially when I talk to all my surgeon friends. Is that
well, I think it's two really good different ways of looking at the market, looking at buying pressure. One, you have that historical representation, that chart up at the top. That's great. You need to know that for support and resistance and how the markets move today. But that window down at the bottom, it's a graphical representation of two different strategies fighting it out. And the strategies that we have in here are really just a bullish strategy looking for new highs and another bearish one looking for new lows. And so you can see exactly, are there more new highs being placed in the market now or more new lows, and you get that graphical view of it.
It helps you, again, be able to quickly pull the trigger. And the other thing, too, is, and what makes this window a little bit different, is that unlike, just exchange feeds that you get from traditional exchanges, this little window right here, it's also looking at our custom data, and almost everything in Trade Ideas is to your advantage because we have custom data. So we're not just tracking daily highs and lows, because other people can do that, but we're tracking a whole broad swath of the intradays, like the 5, 10, 15, and 30 minute, to really see, well, where is that eternal pulse? And surely if it's heading up and if it's over 51% and you happen to be going long, well, then you are going to know that in general the prevailing winds are helping you, and that's part of how you build the confidence. So Brad, really quickly, the last two things that I wanted to say is that now we don't have this, but I have these two single stock windows, and I kind of highlight various things in there that allow me to quickly not only see what I'm buying, business-wise and what they do, but some really important statistics. Like, again, if I don't have them somewhere, I can really quickly see what would be my stop if I didn't have it in a strategy. What are some of the fundamentals? People often mistake, again, Trade Ideas for this day trading company because we're the fastest. But that's kind of funny. I mean, we are very technologically fast, and we process data very quickly, but all of the strategies that you see, I mean, almost all of them have some sort of fundamental component to it. We've never been one to try to say that, well, you should have a camp in any one place, technical, fundamental, or unstructured. You should be in everywhere. So we are everywhere there's a data advantage. We look at everything, and if fundamental data starts presenting itself as a component that makes our software more viable, it instantly gets added by the software. So Brad, let's move on. So Tuesday, yesterday, another day at the office for the AI. This is I timed this one 2 hours in because I kind of I wanted to show. Well, I post some of this on Twitter because again, this is stuff that nobody is showing you exists. Here we got you into a short trade, and here you're in a long trade. We're only two. Well, I think there ended up being 4, Brad. Right?
Yeah, and to be fair, there were 4 total trades that day, and we finished just below that at what, 0.89. So it was pretty close.
But here it was basically perfect. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about is I said, look, not only is it very difficult to do what we're doing, but we're trying to show people that we're designing something that they can use as a human. This is not meant to be some sort of robotic black box that you don't know what's going on. We're trying to make it a little bit, a little entertaining, because we're kind of giving you an idea of what the strategies are doing, but also you can kind of conceptualize that this is 2 hours in. You were basically green the whole day. And we're not saying this happens every day, but we're just trying to show you that this does take place. It's taking place consistently, and it's such a powerful advantage to be able to have something that has crunched all of this data and is giving you, instead of just discretionary kind of random trades, which all of us do, but statistically viable. And this is the thing that, again, that we're really trying to usher in. It's the change of why do you trust these numbers here. If you can imagine the kind of technology that went into processing the data to know that there's a 77% chance here, it basically behooves all of us to be able to allocate a little bit more time to the more statistically viable trades, and what you're going to find is that there's more of an opportunity to make money. And I'm going to talk again about today specifically. So today was a really, really interesting day because just like yesterday, the AI kind of just got into some trades and it started strong. Well, I mean, again, here it was positioning itself, but it really started going and basically spent the whole day. I mean, this was, again, 2 hours in. It spent the whole day positive. But I want to talk about, again, the longer term, right? And we're talking about the setup and why is everybody here. And hopefully this isn't a waste of time, but you start really seeing where you should be allocating your resource. So every single trade that we're trying to find in Trade Ideas is designed to be like this one. They don't always happen, but when we're tasking our computers, this is what we're trying to do. So there was a long entry on Sunrise Mover for RDUS, which is Radius Health. And again, it doesn't, I mean, you can read what it does. It's a biopharmaceutical company. And the entry price was at 33.17, which is right here. Okay? So the software got in, and this strategy had a time stop of approximately an hour. So you made just a little bit over a point. But because in our AI we also let you monitor the information after you exit, the whole time you were watching this and you knew that RDUS was continuing, and then it started to really exhibit this kind of pattern that we have on what we've discussed forever is kind of this trend change lubricant trade of the week type of pattern. In fact, I mean, this stock is exactly that kind of pattern that we're looking to get our clients into, so that they can see it happen in real time. And what I love about this is, again, see this non-exit P&L, Brad? Here I caught it, you know, this is 2 hours after the open. So we had exited at 109 at 34.26, but the last trade here was 35.57, okay, at the time of this picture. Then this is where it ended up closing, 37. So you're talking about 4 points. I mean, this is a kind of trade that pays for your subscription. It sets you up like the way that the statistics really exemplify what is capable. And and the reason I'm staying on this is because so many of you got to see it in real time. And I'm just trying to say that this is exactly, there's no mystery. This is exactly what we are trying to do, and we're trying to show you that we are doing it consistently. RAI versus the S&P, I think this was as of the 7th, so there's 2 days missing, and it has gone up even more. I mean, we're showing this as it's happening. And the most important part for, again, being able to get to the decision, this Q&A, Brad, to me, is really the topic of how do I get from point almost to point click. And I know that sounds maybe a little like marketing sketchy, but it really is true, because the biggest hindrance to anyone making money is the time it takes for them to make a decision. And one of the things that we try to help with is not simply a technology that we know is the superior idea generating technology, but a community that utilizes that technology and really elevates the whole experience so that beginners and experts are interacting all the time, and it up-ramps the whole experience to where people stay uber beginner for a very short amount of time. They quickly start seeing ideas, sharing ideas, and instantly getting the kind of value that they hopefully wanted to get from the top idea generating technology on the market. So again, this is a free community, free trading room that's available from the open to the close, and we'll have some more information on there, but I want to make sure that everybody's aware that that's how you should do it. You should, if you are using this tech, and even if you're not a subscriber, you can still be in the room for free and enjoy interacting with our users. So Brad, let's minimize this and bring up Trade Ideas Pro. You know, we had gone over, again, a lot of, so this is, first of all, let me make sure, is everyone able to see my screen? Brad?
Yeah. No, we can see your screen.
Okay. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about today is, you know, again, we covered the AI, and here's, by the way, this is where RDUS 4 points is what you could have finished up with. So we covered a lot of this, so you're hopefully able to get to that idea, but we had asked questions, so what happens, let's say I'm already in a couple of these trades and I want to see something else. What's a good venue for me to quickly get value to move back and forth. So one of the ones that I think that is one of the more underrated windows, and everything here I have is saved, Brad, is our active trading channel. And
this is a great channel right here, I think.
Right. So this is again, it's kind of an underrated channel because it really focuses so much on the pure discretion type of trading, but at the same time, so much expertise was put into it in terms of being able to find the kind of moves that we all want to be in, and everybody here knows what they are, but I'll just kind of go through it. If you look at a couple of these stocks, so here's BTU, and this one is in a window that's titled Most Unusual Daily Movers. So we're looking at ones where the percentage close is unusual and a couple of other factors as well, like the 30-minute volume. And what I want to talk about a little bit is look at this formation right here that's happening from the bottom to right here. Now, there's something very important that we as investors, and I call ourselves like active venture capitalists, because again, you're in these moves, and the percentages that I want everyone to look at. I mean, there's a huge percentage between 328 and 6. I mean, 100%. There's a lot of people making a lot of money in these moves, and you can as well. Because again, depending on what's happening, there's a bigger picture. And so one of the things that we do at Trade Ideas that we've added is the limit alert functionality. And this limit alert functionality is what you see over here in this line. So I have an alert for BTU because, again, I saw it and I see what it's doing, and I really, and it went to 584, and I'm saying, if it goes back to 626, it's added again. So I'm going to be notified instantly in this kind of window, and I'm going to you can click on wherever. So here, BTU 623, now is the time. So these limit alerts are really one of the more advanced functional ways that our customers are now engaging with this technology. And what everybody's basically doing, and again, this is just about being very efficient, is they go to the channel. So let's say you're on this channel and you see BTU, or you go to another name. Like you come over here and you're like, wow, look at this one, HGG. This looks really interesting. I mean, that's a huge move. Look at this, from 181 to 261. Again, and enough volume, everybody would want to be in this move. So you zoom out and you kind of see, is there more potential? You bet. That's the thing. I mean, a lot of people just really don't believe the kind of percentages that are possible in the stock market. So what we can do, and I've talked about this and I've shown this before, is you can quickly do a little markup. And with Trade Ideas, one of the things that, come here, you. Oh yeah,
you got to turn your crosshair selection off. There you go.
Sorry. So one of the things that you do is you can quickly just decide where is your line. It's like, where is your spot? So what's kind of nice is here I'm going and I'm literally drawing it, and the spot was at 236. So it's already just past it. So I can just say that anything if it goes right above here, 267, let's call it 270. I'm going to call it really going. So this will pop up to me, and I will never miss this again. And so the idea here is that now, instead of only just taking a look and being able to see something, and notice that the prices almost don't matter. I mean, look at the Radius Health. I mean, this is what we were just at, and it's funny that I didn't even, again, sometimes I get reiterated the same stuff that the AI found. I see it in a different way. I'm like, look, this is perfect, and sure enough, we're already in it. Okay. Well, I mean, Brad, it's totally serious. The tile shop.
I know.
Again, imagine being able to get into this if it really starts trending higher, right? So we do a quick move right over here, create the limit, and just say trending higher. So this
You
is
could even bookend that, and put something below there in case it pulls back, and say, great opportunity to get some on the pullback.
Oh, totally. I mean, there's so, well, I don't want to take anything away from Steve and Jamie when they do office hours. You got to give them like a little nugget of knowledge that they can pass, at least. We're giving so much. But the idea here is that there is an interaction, right? So it took us a lot of time, but we are basically created the path and the behavior that makes you your own AI and the most dominant idea generator and potential wealth builder for yourself. And it's because you no longer are in a position to ever miss anything. There's no more like, there's no resources that confine you. So here you can just quickly, it takes nothing for you to say, could be. And now, again, you've got your eyes hunting these things that you would have otherwise just completely missed. So, Brad, the reason, again, why am I even on the active trading page is that one of my two favorite windows is the biggest bounces on losers and biggest pullbacks on winners. So if you look at the biggest pullbacks on winners, so here's basic energy. So look at this stock, okay? So first of all, when it did this behavior, right, that kind of is a perfect exhibition right here of like our trade of the week time kind of move. And a lot of them, because they're so powerful, right, there's both forces are at play. So look at this kind of big red bar. I mean, there were also sellers, but here it's trying again. So you can say, okay, let me just get it right at, 310. And just saying continuing. I mean, you already kind of know exactly what you want to see. So you know why you're going to have it go from here all the way to 310. And that's your trigger. So you have a personal vested stake in everything. And the beauty is you really don't need to overthink it. So once again, the use case, what our clients are doing is what you're seeing here. And what's nice is a lot of times, Brad, I run into old signals. This is an older one that had triggered, came back, and then triggered again, and now has gone up to here. So you get to see yourself really, it's not just a matter of you putting in the time, but I guess the real key here is that your time gets graded. So Brad, why don't you maybe show what is a triggered versus a working?
All right. Well, a triggered signal is going to be something that's already fired off. So you can have, well, first of all, you can filter this in a couple of different ways. You can have everything all in one window, your working orders as well as your triggered, or you can segment it. And by segmenting it, it allows you to really look at a certain segment of these alerts. So, for instance, the triggered alerts would mean that this is an alert that's been fired. So it already went through your price point that you had set. Whereas the working alerts are sitting there waiting for that price point to hit before it's going to send it to that window and notify you.
Brad, let me ask you real quick for the audience. So what does this number mean, 34.25? What is that telling you, and how is that helpful in any way, shape, or form?
Okay, well, it's super helpful because what it's showing you is whether your ideas are good or not, quite honestly. And what it's doing is it's taking a point, and once your signal's been triggered, it's then keeping track of that price point and letting you know where it's moved since it's been triggered. So are you making money or are you losing money since that signal's occurred?
So what you're saying is that we're taking this column, and if you take this column and you resort it and you total this whole thing,
that's right. You sum it up.
So my window here is total up $34.25 on all of the limit alerts that I've been setting up since the limit alerts were functional on February 10th.
Yeah, you're up 34 points. That's pretty good.
Dang, that guy's smart. But again, guys, all kidding aside, one of the things that I want to showcase to everyone is this functionality that I'm about to do right here. So I can say Control, I can press in this window and I press Control A. Right click and it says Share Selected Alerts. So this is a cloud link. So everyone who has our software knows what this is. but I'm putting this in the message field for everybody in the webinar. So I have just now shared all of my triggers. So you may say to yourself, well, but Dan,
we like you working.
well, no, yeah, I like your working. Okay, I'm gonna give you my working as well. Brad, this will go away, I'm guessing, that print.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that, but yeah, I'm sure it will.
So these are 30 that are working. So these are my working, and I'm sharing them with you right now. But there's a really interesting part about the trigger that you need to be aware of. So and here's the cool part. So here again, we talked about that I'm up $34 in all of my trades. But there's a lot to glean from the stuff that hasn't that's pulled back. So here, like if you look at AERI, right? So this was my trigger. It's come down, tried it again, and then it really has come back. But it's at this kind of support level, so you can, again, the idea is you can really still get put into position to be right at the point of finding something major. Like again, this could be a huge break or a huge bounce right back up. So for whatever it is reason that you saw it in the first place, and I think for me it was this gap. I remember something about that saying that I want to see if I can play into that kind of explosive up and then down and then back up and then back down. I mean, again, you want to be aware of it. Here's another example, ESPR. Okay, this is Aspirian Therapeutics. Let me zoom in. Okay, so here, it got really close to my range and pulled back. So again, I can, I can go right here. You can have more than one alert for a stock, so I can go right here and say, could be time again for this to go back to original alert. So now I've got myself ready in case this really does start to go. So what you're seeing again, hopefully, is this is the efficient behavior. Okay, this is when, again, you put something in Shake Shack, it looked like it was going to go, had earnings. That stuff you can't predict, but you can certainly set yourself up to say, okay, maybe reversal. And the alerts are simple, right? You're just basically this is the part where you can visually say, obviously, there was no demand above this price, from here to here. But if all of a sudden it gets here, maybe something again, maybe the whole, people had said that it was a complete overreaction to the earnings. So that's really what people, how are the most successful people taking the most money out of trade ideas? It's doing what I'm showing you now. It isn't this constant sitting there and droning and drawing trend lines. It's really being able to get comfortable with what the AI is showing you and understand that there's a reason why you're being given this, why you've invested in this information and the statistics that are behind it. From what we not only see ourselves, but we just couldn't imagine anything being better in terms of somebody having the scientifically the data behind them. Visually, there's all sorts of stuff that we can do, and and ultimately you don't know if it will or will not work. But statistically, everything here is lining up, and so you really ought to be paying attention to this information and capturing alpha. This is what it's here for. Scott, do you want to come in and do a quick high-level business overview before Brad and I finish doing questions?
Yeah, that sounds good. Well, thank you all for joining us today, first of all, and I'd like to explain what our pricing's like. We're a software as a service company, and our core is our subscription model. Our standard subscription is $99 a month, and that includes all your real-time data, the exchange fees, everything. It also includes the charting, and very importantly, a free one-on-one hour of training. So as soon as you sign up for a Trade Ideas account, the first thing you should do is go to the support section, click on training, and pick your preferred day and time. We also will send you some email reminders just to help you get started. But that hour of training is really great to help you set up your first layouts, get some of your first alerts going that are not the ones that we generate for you, all that kind of good stuff. And then if you sign up for the annual plan, that saves you a whole bunch over the monthly because it's only $888 a year, and both of these are no contract. You can also get access to the limit alerts, to the AI channel strategies, to the backtesting tool, the odds maker, with a one-time $1,100 license fee that lets you find trades that are performing in the market right now through our AI. You can also backtest the entire market with your own strategies and optimize them all without doing any scripting. And you can focus on any exchanges or the entire universe of stocks. We'll have a way for you to either get a new subscription, upgrade from the monthly to the annual, get your AI access, or get everything together a little bit later in the presentation and save some cash. We'll let Dan and Brad continue with the presentation and then answer your questions. Guys?
Thank you very much. Let me get back to the presentation. Brad, since I have not been watching the questions, are we caught up? What's going on?
Well, you know, Linda just asked an interesting question, and you were kind of right there on the AI channel, so I'll just read it. It says, with the AI that you're showing, which stock does that pertain to? And I'm confused as to what the AI is directing us to do. So I know, I guess maybe just a little bit of a little high-level overview of these different windows, because these different windows are really part of a channel layout that we put together for you. And you, of course, you can redesign your layout any way that you want. You could take the surge channel and make it part of the AI channel, combine it, save it, and do anything that you want from your own perspective. But we've taken a stab at all of these different themes in the market through our channel bar. And with respect to Holly and the AI channel, we really just took this look at the market with these three different AI windows, the open, the closed, as well as the strategy view, and then added a couple other trade ideas analytics around it. But let me talk a little bit real briefly about the AI strategy window, which is really the container for the strategies that are participating today. And like Dan said earlier, we don't really know which strategies are going to fire, and it's very possible, like today, certain strategies didn't even fire. But there's a lot more going on behind the scenes before these strategies ever make it to your computer in the morning. So at the end of every day, what our computers are doing, they're really utilizing the backtesting technology that we created, but being really smart about it and using really strong computing power. And it's going through every strategy and looking at the different filters that exist in trade ideas. And that's where it's really powerful, because as Dan alluded to earlier, we create a lot of new data when we're listening to the real-time market data, whether it's volume, how much a stock moves over a 10-minute period of time, whether it's fundamental data. All those data points are considered when it's looking at the strategy to try to modify it and say, what can I do better here to make the strategy more successful? And it does this for the 40 different strategies that are what we call in the combine. So they're competing every day to try to make it out onto your computer the next day. And these are the strategies that made it today. And each one of these strategies is just optimized, and tomorrow, the next day, we don't know what's going to appear. And even if one of these strategies that appeared today, like bond shorty, appears tomorrow, there's a great chance, 99.9% chance, that strategy has been tweaked a little bit based upon the current market conditions. So I know I'm saying a lot here, but there's a lot that goes into these strategies that are presenting themselves right before you here. And then once they're here, okay, I'm sorry, go on.
No, Brad, I was going to say, I think in essence, what you have described is actually why it is called AI, is it's self-adjusting. So we do not control which direction, the amount, or what goes in the strategies. That's all done by the computer. But everything else, in terms of the direction, it immediately tells you what to do. So like if you're getting, here's something else, it's just at the very high level, and I guess, Brad, I was asking kind of Linda Rausch had a question with the AI strategy, what are you showing me? So here, this is kind of the strategy overview. These are the strategies that are set up today, okay? Since the market is over, I can tell you that today, only these were active. So if I had a filter for active, I wouldn't see. So this none is everything that made the cut, here's what actually performed today. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 strategies that performed out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 that made it. Only 4 actually had live trades that went through. Here are the different hold times that were modeled to get this success rate. So here's what we mean by that. So to design this strategy and be at 89%, the computer assumed that you were going to hold the position for 60 minutes. Okay, and there's either a percentage stop or what we call a smart stop, which is, again, given to you by the computer that tells you what's the custom stop for every stock, because every stock is different. So all of this information is given to you. And again, if you get into the stock, the idea is that you would hold it for approximately 60 minutes based on the statistics. But if you were up, you could hold it for the rest of the day and simply put a stop at the profit or break even or whatever amount you wanted. This is what we were kind of saying about if you look at the chart here, right, for RDUS. Okay, we got in like right here. The timed exit was like right there, and then it continued for 3 more points all throughout the day. You could have, of course, followed exactly what we do with the AI, but the AI that we designed is designed to be cherry-picked by humans. And what we mean is that we are doing all the hard part, the getting you in the stuff that's statistically viable, but you can take advantage of it. So we give you these tools right here, the non-exit P&L. So this is the exit. You can track your stock afterwards, so you can say to yourself, okay, maybe I'll get out of half of it and see how the other half goes and put a stop in where the original stop was. Again, there's ways that you can interact with the P&L, and we're giving you the data to do that. But every strategy is modeled because at the end of the day, Holly is flat, and at the beginning of the day, Holly is flat, so that nobody has to worry about, oh, well, look, the AI is in this position, and it got into it yesterday. I was sick yesterday. So we're beating the S&P in the hardest way possible. We're starting flat every day and finishing flat, so that every single day, everyone has new opportunities that they can work with. But because, again, you have that limit capability, you do not have to think that you're going to miss it. You can just quickly go right in here and say, you know, from AI going again, and it just continues. So that's how that works. This AI is like your PhD trader, and it's doing 2 things. It's showing you things that you can get into where you can make money, but it's also showing you how do you manage the exits. So it's taking losses when it needs to take losses. It's following its rules, and it's showing you the kind of behavior that leads to consistent gains. Linda, my pleasure. Brad, so anything else?
I think we're caught up.
So I was looking at Don's about being too good with our filters, and I was just saying, Don, you know, we are really good with our filters, and the idea is that, number one, we share everything. So like I have all these kind of windows. Like here's a window that I have called Float On, and I do, this is part of my webinar for this evening, but I'm just showing you. I'll be showing this in a webinar later on. These are like some of the stocks that are really starting to set up, okay? And this is where we feed kind of like the fire of our AI through some of these bases. And the idea is that, guys, you don't have to design them yourselves. You can just use the ones I have. All you have to do is have access to trade ideas and have access to the AI, and everything that I do is yours. We share everything with you because we want you to do well. It's that simple.
So it's interesting, Dan. I see that on your float on top list right there, you got PSG. PSG was one of the AI calls today, the third one down. But it's interesting. You know, that's the thing about trade ideas and a lot of these different windows. And a lot of times people get a little bit overwhelmed by all the data that's being displayed, but a lot of times there's that repetitive data that's being displayed, and you find it in a float-on window. You see it in Holly delivering a signal for it, and it's just delivering that kind of confirmation that could be a longer term opportunity. And I think the AI flatted that trade today, but it spotted something. It spotted a footprint and a signal that warranted a good look at it.
Well, I think, Brad, I mean, not only are you absolutely right about that, and notice, I mean, that's why I put the limit in there. You see that line? It's for that exact reason, is that, I mean, what Brad is telling you, and I'm just reiterating, is that we are not looking for day trading strategies. We want to be in a stock that we get in it at 4, and it gaps up to 6, and then pulls back to 5, and then gaps up to 12. That's, I mean, I'm obviously everybody would want that, right? But what I'm trying to say is that I wouldn't pretend that I could trade myself, get every single wave of that move. So a lot of times day trading actually does hurt you. So I don't want people to be obsessed with just getting instantly out. There's a lot more that can be made in different ways. But certainly everything that we're trying to find has long-term implications. And in these cases, like Tour, you can kind of see what's starting to happen, right? And sometimes the computers are picking up subtle signs where it doesn't look as good to you, but maybe there's something right here, that matches here and here that it senses. And that's, again, how sophisticated things have gone. Imagine, again, being on the opposite side from 8 to 16. Not the down, well, you can be on the downside too, being short, but I'm saying catching, that's what we are trying to do. Okay, we're trying to get in, ride these moves, and really take advantage. So later on today, when I'm going to be going over the webinar, I'm going to give everyone tons of names to watch. I mean, all I really have to say is Solar City for our Trade Ideas Trade of the Week on Monday. I mean, we're showing you what we're made of. Between Solar City and FCell the week before, it's like 19 and 10%. So I just want everyone to know that we really do believe we are the best at helping you. It's up to you to decide that on your own. But we have the most interesting data. We deliver it in the most interesting way, and we're the only ones that actually put ourselves on the line and commit our data to actually trade it. So we tell you what to do as well. Scott, I think we got everything. I'm going to leave the floor to you to finish up.
All right, great. I want to direct everyone's attention to the handouts panel. You should be able, in your GoToWebinar interface, you should be able to find yourself a PDF right there that has the same information you're seeing on your screen. So to thank you for showing up for the webinar today, we have a code, Holly9, it's all caps, H-O-L-L-Y, 9. And what you want to do is on checkout, use that code to take half off your first month, which will renew at $99, but you get to try us out for just $49. It's a great way to get into trade ideas, get that training in, show up at the trading room every day with your trade ideas open and follow along with Barry. You can get 20% off your first year. So you can start at $710 for the first year and then renew at $888. That's, if you've already been with us on the monthly plan for a little while, you might as well just get on for the year. It saves you a bunch of money. And that getting on for $710 makes sense. You can get the AI odds maker license for just $770. It takes, that code also takes 30% off, and you got to use that by Friday. Here's a little tip though: if you want to get everything, like for example, if you're a monthly subscriber, you understand the value of trade ideas, and you want to have the AI and get on the yearly plan, you can combine. You can use that code Holly9 on the combo page to get everything and save over $500 immediately. So if you go to that link, it made it easy for you there, bit.ly/AI Holly, and the AI Holly is all capitals. That takes you directly to a landing page where you can click through the offer for $19.88 and use the code, and that drops it down to $14.80. So it saves you $500 immediately. Dan, you're saying something?
I wanted to just jump in for 2 seconds and just make sure everyone understands that it's kind of like, in a way, this is our premium version versus our regular priced version, but it's such a huge deal on the premium because our AI is really the gateway to all the higher level functionality, and there's tons more, like the sharing of the limits you saw, and the RBIs and the GBIs and all these other higher level tools are all really given to you once you have access to the AI, and this is an incredible opportunity to get it to really get ready.
Yeah, someone's just asking about, they went to the Trade of the Week sign-up page and didn't see a a webinar thing. That's because you need to sign up for the newsletter to get invited to the Trade of the Week webinars. So Mike, sign up, and then you'll get an invite a little bit later today to go to the Trade of the Week webinar. Actually, I think they're going out now at 2:30. So you want to go ahead and jump on that. All right, guys. Thanks everyone for attending. Thank you for showing up and giving us your attention. We will have a Trade of the Week webinar later on for those of you who are on that list. If you're not, what are you waiting for? Sign up. Thanks, guys. There'll be a recording of this available by tomorrow. Cheers. Email us, info@trade-ideas.com if you have any questions.